Nano Banana is the most important tool you should be using right now. So if you've heard of it and you don't know where to get started, well, this video is for you because I'm going to break it down and I'm going to show you how to access it, how to use it like a pro, and I'll even show you how to make videos from the images you create. My name is Andy Crisoforo and I teach people all the latest and greatest AI and visualization workflows. So let's get started. There's two ways to access Nano Banana. First, you can access it directly through the Gemini app. You can just Google Gemini and you'll see it right here. And we're using 2.5 Flash. Nano Banana is the nickname for that. The second way is actually using it directly in the Photoshop beta. So to download this, all you have to do is go to your apps, hit beta, and then download it. At the time of this recording, it's only available in the beta. This is where Adobe has added the partner models. So you'll see Flux Context and Nano Banana directly in Generative Fill. We'll talk more about that later in the video. But first, let's start with Gemini, because in my opinion, this is the best spot to get started. And I kind of bounce between the two depending on the use case. And I'm going to give you a couple examples so you can understand why you would use one over the other. So Nano Banana is a fantastic image to image model, meaning you can take an image and modify it. So what I'm going to do is grab an image of a rendering that I'm working on right now. So as you can see on that rendering that there's a couple X's on the columns. Well, the client actually wanted me to change the material. So instead of me manually going in and editing it, directly in the render engine, I can actually specify, change the material of the columns with the X to a white trim material. Now watch this. Nano Banana is intelligent enough that it actually knows what I'm talking about. It will scan the image and see the X's. So that's the beauty of Nano Banana. It's smart. It's not dumb. It'll actually preserve the structure of your image and it'll modify just the important bits. So look at that. So it just touched the column. Extremely impressive. That took no time at all. I mean, in the time for me to open up, D5 render to render this out again, it did this. So this is a good way to do some design options without me actually having to spend the time to modify it myself. Great way to iterate. So talking about iterating, I also use this a lot to just workshop different time of days, for my renderings or photographs. So because this is conversational, think of like ChatGPT, you can actually say, can you change the time of day to be golden hour? It'll think for a little bit and within 10 seconds, we get a result like this. Beautiful. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So as you can see, it's doing a fantastic job preserving everything and it's listening to me. I could even go one step further and say, remove the clouds. And notice how I didn't say remove the clouds from the sky or anything. It knows that the clouds are in the sky. It's going to do it automatically. It's not dumb. I'm going to say that a lot because that's the cool part of this. We can be kind of vague, but in my opinion, you want to give it as much detail as needed. That way it can perform the right task, because if you don't and it's vague, it's going to give you results you're not happy with. And so because I know prompting is so challenging, I actually wrote a Nano Banana prompt guide so you can read this and get some inspiration about how you should write a prompt. I've got this fantastic formula for you to use. The idea is you need to be specific about your image, how you're going to modify it, what you're going to do to it, and some constraints. And I give you some great before and afters so you can understand how the prompt affects the image. So it's 70 pages long. Definitely check that out. Link in the description. So let's get back to the tutorial. So now let's hop into the interior of the project and let me show you what else we can do. So I'm gonna hit new chat, and again, same project. I'm working on this image. Now the client has a couple comments. So what I'm going to do is drag that rendering in here, and they gave me a reference spec for a material. So I dragged in two images. I've got my accent chair here as a reference image. What I can say here is take the fabric of the reference image. You could say chair, it's intelligent to know that, and apply to the sofa. So now I'm basically saving a lot of time because I don't have to hop back into D5 render, change the material, and then re-render. I can just do this and see what they think. They have a lot of opinions, so this could save me some time. And there you see, it did a fantastic job. So there was one last comment they had on this rendering, and they didn't like the color of the windows. So now I can say, change the window color to be white. And now it will hopefully tackle all this. So let's see. Phenomenal. Look at that. Again, I kept it vague and it did a great job. So now that I've got this, I've got a really nice image here. What I can do is animate it. So let me show you if you were to start from scratch. You can use your existing image or start from scratch. It does not matter. I'm going to grab that interior rendering again. And what I want to do to make a video of it is actually go here to tools and switch to create videos with Veo. If you're unfamiliar with it, Veo 3.1 is actually really amazing. It's fast and it gives you audio, meaning it'll generate audio for you, which is was like incredible. So here, what I want to do is just showcase a slow time lapse, like a day-night cycle. So I could say slow time lapse and just send that off. I don't want to do anything crazy here. I'm not trying to go nuts. I just want to see it just go from day to night or vice versa. So this will typically take 1 to 2 minutes. So we'll pause right here. All right, perfect. The video is out and that took probably 30 seconds. So I'm just going to hit play and let's watch. The shadows are changing, the fireplace is going, it's actually flickering, and it's giving us a nice slow dolly zoom in. Like, this is insane. Like, imagine manually doing this. Like, it would take a lot of time. It would not take you 30 seconds to manually do this. So pretty incredible that it's able to do this in just like no time at all. And that was all from a simple prompt. Okay, this can get much more intense, but you'll see all the reflections are correct, shadows are correct. Like, it just looks beautiful. So this is an easy way to just animate your projects and make it so much more exciting when you're presenting it. So that's the Gemini side of things. If you want to bring this into Photoshop, let's talk about that. So here I've got the Photoshop beta open. Okay, I know it's the beta because it's the white icon and it's the only one that has partner models in generative fill. And if you're unsure about what I'm talking about with generative fill, is if I go and select anything in my scene here, you're going to have this little window right here that says generative fill. This is your context menu. When you click it, it's going to ask you which model you want. So we've got, the Firefly. That was typical to Adobe. And now they have partner models, which is Flux Context and Nano Banana. If I click this, I'll get the Google G, and now I can prompt directly what I want. So I can say, change window frame to be dark gray. And I can send this off. And, it's just looking at this selection. So that's the nice part of this workflow is you don't need to regenerate the whole image. You're just focusing on a specific thing, which is nice for, detail edits. So think about that when you're contemplating, oh, do I use Gemini or do I use Photoshop? As you can see here, it did a fantastic job with the window. And what's clever about this is this part, this upper trim is not part of the window and it knew that. So that's why it's like scary good. In terms of how this works though, is you will get a brand new layer, you can see here, and it'll also save your variations. Okay. So I can actually change the model right here or the color. So I could just say red just for the sake of it being, something bright and hit generate. And now the variation is going to be baked in on the same layer. Okay. It's not an additional layer. It's the same layer. So you can actually choose which one you want to be live or not. There we go. There we've got our red, our gray, and we're flipping between that. Look at that. Did a phenomenal job. So very, very cool that you can do this directly in Photoshop. So you've got those two options. The whole point of this video was just to show you what's out there, because I think everyone's got to get on this, because I think Nano Banana, maybe Nano Banana 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 come out down the line. Impressive stuff. I mean, the way it respects everything, the way everything just looks great. I think the future of this is just it being, a high resolution, upscaled. That's currently the limitation right now with a lot of these generative AI models. It's usually like 1 megapixel. So you have to run it through an upscaler. There's magnific, there's clarity, topaz, there's all these different options that you can use, but that's out there. Anyways, if you need more help, definitely check out my prompt guide. It's in the description and the pinned comment. Check that out. Let me know what you think. And as usual, if you made it this far, please consider subscribing and liking the video. Really helps me out and the algorithm. See you next time.